All right, back here with PJ Overtime, and I want to talk about RT America. See, in a previous clip, we talked about Clarence Thomas and how we want to get him impeached. Basically, I want to get him impeached so that we could get back a Supreme Court. And something we talked about behind the scenes was the validity of RT America, which was at that time, Tom Hartman is not with RT America anymore, but at that time he was. Izzy, go ahead and jump in and give us what you think about it.
Yeah, so I mean, we watched the clip. I think that all the points are valid. I agreed with everything that he said, and there's probably a decent amount of good programming that comes from that channel. But we also have to realize the only point that I need to make for our viewers is that RT America, all of the RT channels for all the countries, are funded by the Russian government. So
True.
here we are. We've already rebranded mainstream media, amongst ourselves as corporate media, right? Because we want to know what funding goes into the creation of that news. Mm-hmm. And so we also have to be very transparent about RT as well. I mean, the Russian government is what funds that channel solely. Mm-hmm. So we have to be aware of that. I'm not saying that they don't do some decent programming. I'm not saying that a broken clock isn't right twice a day. But we just have to be aware that when we watch that channel, we are watching news that is funded specifically by the Russian government.
Well, when this came up earlier, you used the word that triggered me, and you didn't use it this time. Right now, You're talking very factually, but earlier,
and I agree with you.
Russian propaganda.
And well, if it's propaganda, okay, yeah, and I still agree with that. I'm not saying that everything that comes from RT is propaganda. What I'm saying is that it's all funded by the Russian government. So technically, it is propaganda. Do you really trust information that comes from Russia, period?
I trust certain people that are on certain news. You can't classify Jesse Ventura. You can't classify Lee Camp. You can't classify
Ed Schultz.
What's this guy's name? The Larry King.
Yeah, but they're guests. They were guests on the network.
They have programs. This their show.
Yeah, they're not guests. That was their show.
Wait a minute. Well, Jesse Ventura wasn't he on MSNBC?
Yeah, he was on MSNBC.
Okay, so then corporate media is cool. We cool with corporate media too now?
He never even got on MSNBC. They signed him to a contract, and then when he was against the wars, they ended up.
Phil Donahue.
No, he had a couple shows. He had a couple shows that aired, but definitely he was on MSNBC. Now, this is my opinion of what you said about propaganda, and I totally agree with you. The way you set it up was perfect. I agree with everything that you said, where it's funded by Russia, and that is something that should be known. And matter of fact, YouTube started a policy where they started putting in a comment below that certain channels were funded specifically, but they don't do it for MSNBC, they don't do it for CNN, that those channels are funded by their billionaire capitalists at the top, which I would love to see that if they're going to start calling people out.
I don't think they're going to have enough room to mention all the Wall Street firms and all the military contractors.
All the contractors. But as far as propaganda, Tom Hartman, he I think that's why he left. I think a lot of he's really cool with establishment Democrats like Tom Perez, and I know those are people that come on his shows, and I think they probably said, "Hey Tom, if you're on RT America, I can't come on your show." And eventually he left. But I think Ed Schultz has a lot of credibility. Tom Hartman, as you saw there, these are people. And Jesse Ventura, he said that he's never gotten a directive from the Russian government on what to say. So is there potential for propaganda? Is there potential for manufacturing consent where you might be cool with Russia, with Putin, and then now you're not going to be as critical? Is that a possibility? Yeah, I agree with that. But that's everything that you should keep in mind when you're watching these shows. Yeah.
Right, and you also have to think about the fact that Russia, their whole goal is to split us up, right? They're succeeding at their goal. That is their goal. So of course they're not going to say, "Hey, Jesse Ventura, be more moderate." Of course they're not going to say that because he helps in splitting us up. And I'm not saying Jesse Ventura is a bad guy. Like I would vote for him in this election if he were to run right now. I would absolutely vote for him. I'm just saying that they wouldn't tell Jesse Ventura to do that because he's helping with their mission. That's all I'm saying.
A good friend of mine named Izzy says that we need to be critical thinkers, and I think that is the most important thing. Is that if Russia tells us that Chelsea Manning gave us some good information, or that Edward Snowden did a certain thing, like these are positive things for America. There is going to be certain propaganda things. Maybe they're not going to cover Putin as aggressively as other media would. but you might get certain news from certain media, but it doesn't take away from the true things that they will say on occasion and with certain hosts. So I think we have to be critical thinkers and be aware, take everything with a grain of salt, but just don't blatantly label it as propaganda across the board. Be aware of their sponsors just like we would any other media. And if they have good things that they're going to present, then we can hear that from them. And if MSNBC is going to be right twice a day, we could listen to them twice a day. And same thing for CNN, same thing. Even for Fox News might get one thing right a year, you know? So take every story with a grain of salt and think critically.
Yep. Yeah. Always keep that critical thinking hat on for sure. I agree.
In the comments below, let us know what you think about RT America, about there's various other YouTube channels that are funded by their prospective government. I can't think of the name of the Venezuelan YouTube channel that's out there, but let us know what you think. I think so. I think that's exactly what it is. And so let us know what you think below. And
even Fox News, rest in Cancun, Shep Smith.
Yeah, he left.
Shout out to Lee Cap, spreading the truth. He's the next Jon Stewart. We love you.
Let us know in the comments below. Like and subscribe.